Did we cover everything we were talking about there? We're trying to be very conscientious of the fact that we don't finish stories, but it's really hard to do when you're drinking.
I think we finished that. Oh,
Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like.
welcome to Drunk Bitches Be Like. I'm Brandy.
I'm Mindy.
And this is all about two women, a few beers, some tipsy stories, and some drunk ideas.
Welcome.
What happened to my old chair? Actually, I have my old gaming chair sitting in the garage because I was going to sell it. It reclines, but the arms go with it. And then it's got this kickstand thing that you pulls out and then folds over so that like you have this little pillow you can prop your feet on.
Nice.
So you can lean back, which is nice. But it is not designed to be a sit upright for 8 hours at a time while you're working during the day kind of a chair. So that's why I had to get rid of it. Because once we started working from home, I was like, need a new chair because this one is very uncomfortable if you're just sitting upright. Now, when you kick back and everything, it's great, but still only good for about 3 hours.
Yeah, I had a task chair and my ass hurt. So despite how large I am, I'm not super large. People are going to think like, I don't know what they're going to picture me as. I'm like a size 18. It's, I'm just round. Round in the middle. I have no hips. I have no ass.
I am slowly, and not slowly, I'm quickly moving out of my 14s into a 16.
Doesn't get any easier when you get older. Catch that shit right away. But no, my ass was hurting. And because I have a bony ass, I've sat on his lap before and he's like, get off of me because all I can feel, I don't have there's like a new body type that people are really into and they support. Like, I don't look like Ashley Graham.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an apple. She's still an hourglass no matter how you cut it.
Yeah.
She still has a waist. I don't. That's where all my weight is. I got skinny little chicken legs and no hips and no butt. Fat tummy, implants, and then head.
I'm pretty much just a box.
Yeah, that's pretty much
box
what it
on
is.
Legs.
Yeah, when you go to like, what is it, like one of the clothing websites, they were like, pick your body type. And I'm like, rectangle.
Yeah.
That's what I am.
I'm a rectangle.
I'm a rectangle with a circle in the middle.
Yeah, if you look at me, well, it depends. So I've always had this weird thing, which I know this is going to sound really bad, so I'm just prefacing this with that. When I was a small child, I was always very skinny, but my mom always said I looked like an Ethiopian kid because even though you could see my rib cage, my belly would always, like, I had a pot belly. It just, and
but you didn't have it because you were
right,
like,
not because I was malnutrition or anything. It was just I just have this stomach that like my belly always just pops out.
Yeah.
And especially like as an adult, like I have to work very hard to get a flat stomach and it doesn't happen very often. But like if I like deprive myself of food for a few days, then it'll happen, which I don't do like ever. But every once in a while, if you like had a really early dinner and then you go to bed and like you wake up and have a really late lunch and it's like before lunch, you're like, oh, my stomach's a little bit flatter. But like the instant I put anything in my stomach, it's like, boop. Pops right back up. And it's like, all right, well, that's how it is.
I'm just kind of gelatinous. It doesn't bother me. I actually thought about, I probably shouldn't have bought a wedding dress that has no sleeves, mainly because hi, Mom. I think that, I think she was less than pleased that I got another tattoo. And my consolation to her was, well, I didn't start the full sleeve that I want on my other arm because I have black work on my left arm and I want to do a full Doctor Who sleeve on my right arm. And she's like, why? And I'm like, because I'm 48 and I can do what I want.
Right.
Do what I want. Damn it. But I decided it would clash with the wedding dress. But I seriously considered when I went in to get it altered. I also did not pick it up today. I'll do that tomorrow.
Aw.
Before I have my doctor's appointment, before I get to see my loony doctor. And so I went in to, I was going in to do that. And I actually bought like a Shaper bodysuit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. I think I bought 2 other ones. You and I need to quit drinking together because I think
we shop.
I think I bought 2 different Skims bodysuits and I promised to never give the Kardashians any money at all.
Oh.
And they looked wonderful. So I bought them, but I think they're going to make my dress fit a little too big. But before that, I had considered like putting 2 of those on. And then I thought I'm not going to be able to dance or breathe.
You got to be careful with those though, because I have, all right. So like I said, I'm a 14, quickly moving into a 16. And on Valentine's Day, I have like a the whole full body thing with like the shorts and, the whole built-in bra, everything. And it fit fabulously when I bought it, and I can still get it on. And on Valentine's Day, I was like, I'm wearing a nice dress and I'm going to wear this, right? So I put it on, and then I put on the dress and I looked horrible, and I was like, no, I've got to change. So I changed into a different dress, which was a much more comfortable dress, but I didn't think to change my undergarments to fit with the more comfortable dress. So I still had on the body sucky suit thing, and we went out to eat, and we were purposely going to this restaurant because we both love the pasta that they serve. There's only 2 pasta dishes on the entire menu because it's a steakhouse. It's known for being a good steakhouse. But I love the pasta that they have because the one I get is like this Cajun cream sauce, and it's got like lobster crab.
Let's get steak on top. Oh, no, lobster crab.
It's got lobster crab and shrimp in it, and it's scallops. It's just so good. And like the one he gets is like this
the steakhouse
spicy...
in Beaver Creek?
No.
Okay.
So it used to be J. Alexander's, and now it's called like Redlands Grill or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But FYI, if you haven't listened before, we're in Dayton, Ohio.
Yes.
So if you want to go any of the places we talk about, that's where you have to go.
Yeah.
And if you want us to come where you're at, find a bar that will let us have a private room and buy drinks from them.
Absolutely.
Or they can give us drinks. We'll give them a free plug.
That's true. Even if there's background noise, I feel like we'll go somewhere else just to get free drinks.
There you go. Anyway, continue.
But so we went there to get the pasta. So we went and had a lovely dinner. And then we finished dinner, and on the way home, we were going to go somewhere else, I think. And then I was like, I think I really need to go home. I can't breathe. So we get home, and even after I took it off, like it felt like I had a cramp in my spleen for like the next 2 hours.
That's not good.
So I put on the loosest like sweatshirt and like sweatpants that I had, and I finally felt better maybe 4 hours later, but I'm pretty sure it was because I had that sucky thing on for so long. And I mean, I only had it on for maybe 3-4 hours tops.
Right.
But like after 3-4 hours, I was like, okay, my insides are shutting down and I need to take this off.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Also, there could be nothing sexier on your wedding night than to be like, can you peel me out of this sweaty
I need you to
piece
take
of
this
lycra? Or I'm like, it has an open gusset. Just go for it.
Yeah. Just okay, that is the weirdest, and like it's disturbing, but at the same time it's like, yeah, this is what you're using, because I had to pee at some point, and it's like it has a hole in the bottom of it, so you don't have to take the whole damn thing off. And so you go to the bathroom, and like I'm always terrified, but I'm like, I just hope the hole's in the right spot.
Yeah. It's so my mom has a pool. I do not pee in the pool. So I will go inside to go to the bathroom, but I also don't want to pull off my wetsuit. So I just grab the crotch of it and pull it off, like make it go all the way over to my ass cheek so that my whole body is bare. It stretches your swimsuit out, but hey, at least you don't have to like try and pull it on and pull it off. And
that's the worst. Like putting a wet swimsuit back on after you've gone to the bathroom, because I've done that a ton of times, and it's just awful.
I don't know why I never thought about doing that. Like it was just in the past 2 years that I was like, oh, all right, that makes sense.
That's brilliant. I need to do that from now on, because yeah, I still like pull the whole damn thing off, and especially now too that I'm not wearing bikinis anymore and I'm in one pieces.
Screw them.
Oh man, I don't. So I think it's just because I haven't bought any in a long time, and like they don't fit anymore.
Target and Torrid. Lane Bryant's too expensive. Torrid is too expensive, but Target always has plus size.
Oh, nice. Like bikinis.
Yeah, I actually messaged them on Twitter one time. I was like, hey, would you please put them in the store? And they were like, what store doesn't have them? And so I told them we have like 3-4 Targets in the area.
Yeah, something like that.
And I told them which one. I actually think it was the one over by the mall. This mall, not that mall. We like our malls. We like them.
There's malls.
We like them 6 miles apart from each other.
We have indoor malls. We have outdoor malls. We have all the malls.
So yeah, I messaged them, and then there were some there later. But they have like high-waisted briefs in a couple of different styles, and then they have like really cute tops.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like, you're showing your belly, and I'm like, don't look at it.
Right. It's never been a thing where like I mind showing off my stomach, but I feel like it's also one of those things where I'm not going to wear like the little G-string bikini things.
Oh, no, I don't
Yeah,
want, I
I
wouldn't
don't.
feel comfortable in that.
Right. And that's the thing, because I feel like you make a wrong move and something's going to come out.
I'm not even worried about my boobs coming out. I'm afraid my vagina would show.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I could find one that was actually a legitimate, like, made for somebody that was, you know, bigger than a size 4, then I would love to wear a bikini because they're so much easier to go to the bathroom in and stuff.
Right.
Although now that you've just showed me that, or not showed me,
Told you.
told me about that
No,
trick.
did not show you.
She definitely didn't
It's
show
not
me.
that kind of show yet.
No.
We are not that drunk. There might come a time but we're not that drunk.
Yeah. No, that's...
I would also like to say we wouldn't record it, but that would be a lie.
That's true. We talked about your hysterectomy, so now we need to talk about my mammogram.
Welcome to Lady Talk.
Hey!
We're talking about our lady parts.
I feel like we need like our own little do-do-do whenever it's
Yeah.
lady talk time.
So just keep fast forwarding until we're not talking about it if you don't want to hear about it.
Although, I mean, who doesn't want to hear about boob squishing?
Right. There you go. Not the kind you want, not the fun
Right.
squishing. Yeah, we did talk about the fact that we should talk about mammograms.
Yeah.
Yours is a unique case because you are 36?
37.
And typically you don't get a baseline mammogram until you're 40.
Right.
I have a grandmother who had breast cancer, but that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But you have a situation where you qualify as a high risk
Yeah.
person.
So I have a grandmother and an aunt on the same side of the family that both had it, and the aunt got it in her 40s.
Oh, wow.
So that's why it was like I'm considered high risk, which now that I have it, I have a bonus reason why I'm considered high risk, which they discovered.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll take this in chronological order and try and keep it in line for you guys.
So I actually, and this is one of those things where, like, we talked before about doctors and how sometimes you need to go get a second opinion or whatever else. So I have an OBGYN who, I adore all of my doctors for different reasons. I like her because it's in, out, on the way, like, you know.
Right.
I don't have to worry. Like, I go in and she's like, okay, do you have any questions? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool, you're out. Now, I will say it's fantastic, except for when you actually have, like, legitimate questions and things like that, because she is a fast talker. Yeah. And so you'll ask a question, he goes, okay, and I talk really fast too. So, like, I understand it, but also, like, I don't understand anything she's saying.
You're hearing it.
I'm hearing it. I'm just not comprehending.
Right.
And she originally was like, well, I want you to get a mammogram. And this was a couple years ago. And I was like, okay. So I called the insurance company and they were like, well, we don't pay for that until you're 40. And I was like, okay. So I called and canceled the mammogram. And then, like, her nurse called and said, why'd you cancel the thing? And I said, because my insurance won't pay till I'm 40. And she was
Yeah,
like,
because they all tattle on you, by the way.
right. And then she was like, but you need to do this. And I was like, okay, well, the insurance is not paying for it. So, like, I'm sorry, I'm not rich. I can't afford to do this unless insurance is helping. So I can't do this. I understand you want me to, and I understand that I'm a higher risk patient, but, like, unless they're going to pay for it.
If you want me to do it, get a mammogram machine. I'll come in. You
Yeah.
won't charge me, and then we'll all be happy.
Right. We can do this thing. So I kind of just let it go. And then my family doctor that I meet with once a year, super love her. And she's the kind of doctor that I go in for my yearly physical and I'll go get my blood work and we sit down and we chat. And she's the kind of doctor that you don't feel bad telling her that you have wine once a night or, like, how many drinks do you have a week? Well,
That's all right. They triple it.
Yeah.
They double or triple it. When I worked in an office, if somebody was willing to tell you they had a 6-pack a night,
Yeah.
they had a 12-pack a night.
Okay. So that's my thing. I have no problem being super honest with her about literally everything. And she'll sit there and chat. And, like, my annual physical, she'll do all of the things and check everything and goes over my blood work. But she'll also just sit there and chat with me for a little bit about, like, what's going on in my life, stress things and everything else, just to make sure that I'm healthy mentally, physically, everything. And so I mentioned to her how my OBGYN wanted me to get a mammogram, but I couldn't get one and she asked me about my family history and she goes, oh, well, let's see if it'll go through if I put you in as a high risk patient, because since you have family history of it and everything else, you're a high risk person. So if I put it in that way, maybe it'll go through.
Right.
And it did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so there's some medical billing coding things that, like, if you do it a certain way, things go through, and not if you do it a different way.
Right.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you used to insurance would deny something. I worked at a job where insurance would deny something, and I would call, like, usually it was lab stuff, and you would either call insurance or you would call the lab that you were sending the things to, and usually the lab that you were sending them to would say, well, you didn't have a diagnosis that matches this test. Does the patient have one of these 15 diagnoses? And I'd be like, sure do. Like, I mean, I wasn't making it up. It was in their chart.
Right.
It might not have been why they came in that day, but
it's in there.
But the doctor wanted to do it, and technically they could do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So there's
You have to have somebody willing to work with you.
There's technicalities there that I feel like you've got to like really dig into. And so she was totally willing to like, okay, well, let me try and order it and we'll do it this way. And it worked and it went through. And so it was like, all right, so off to get a mammogram. And of course, before I went, I called my mom because I'm like, hey, Mom, what do I expect out of this? Because I've never done this before. And, you know, you hear horror stories.
Right.
Like as a female, they're like, oh, my God, it hurts so bad. And my mom's like, well, here's the thing. She was like, there's 2 different versions. Just hope you get the 3D version, because if you get the other version, it's going to feel like your nipple's going to explode.
You're like, thanks.
And I was like, oh, okay. And
how about if I just get a mastectomy?
And she goes, but the 3D version isn't bad. She was like, they just scan it. And I'm like, okay, so hope for the 3D. Okay, so they sent me a letter in the mail, like basically saying, here's your appointment, here's where it's at. And on it, it had 3D in the title. So I was like, yes, I got the 3D version. So I'm like all happy, hunky-dory going to my appointment. And I get there and I go in and I will say I heard beforehand from a friend or two that were like, oh, yeah, they treat you like it's a spa day and whatever else. And they do. Like, we're in COVID time, so it wasn't like totally like that. Like, they weren't using the lockers or whatever, but they gave you a little bag and they're like, all right, just put everything in your bag. You're going to keep it with you.
Here's a little robe.
There's a robe that's warm. It was in a warmer. So they take out the robe out of the warmer. So they've got a warm robe. And then the lights are all dim.
I'm going to have to find out where you went off. When we're off.
There were TVs that had like waterfalls and like, it was very serene and like very like,
Aren't you fancy?
Nice, fancy music, elevator music, like to calm you down in the background.
For all I know, that's how they're supposed to be. And I just go to a hospital that's like, get a move on, lady.
I will say it was not in a hospital. So that might be. In fact, I didn't know this at the time, but when I showed up, I was like, oh, it's down the hall from my OBGYN.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, I know where I'm at. Okay, cool. But yeah, so then, I put the robe on or whatever, and I walk into the room and I'm looking at the machine going, I mean, it looks like there is a giant clear shelf that's supposed to squish my boob. So I feel like even though so I asked the lady, I'm like, hey, so is this the 3D one? And she goes, oh, yeah. Actually, since insurance started approving 3D scans, they got rid of all of the other scanners and we only do 3D scan now. And I was like, oh, okay. But still went through the whole thing. Yeah. She had to lift my boob up and put it in the thing and squish it and everything, take pictures. And I mean, it wasn't terrible. It didn't feel like my nipple was going to explode. But it was slightly uncomfortable for a little bit of time. And plus the holding your breath thing while you had to take the photos was a little uncomfortable.
I find it more awkward the fact that there are no handles on the machine, and yet they're like, hug the machine, put this hand around the machine.
Oh no, I had a handle.
Did you have a handle? Damn, I'm going to the wrong place.
I got to send you to my girl.
God. I got a girl.
Oh yeah. It was like, so it was around the machine, but they had a little like indent thing that was a handle for you to hold on to.
Or my arms aren't long enough. Who knows?
But yeah, the 45-degree angle ones that they take. And the women who have had these before, you're going to know what I'm talking about. When who haven't, just bear with me. But when they do the 45-degree angle shots, those definitely are more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a horrible experience. But so
did you get results back? Like, I mean, did it take
almost
a few days
instantaneously.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So the lady there, she watched everything while I was doing it, and she was like, I didn't see anything. They might call you back if they need more pictures. Don't worry about it. It's a baseline. So whatever else. But she was like, I don't see anything that would cause alarm. And within, I think, a couple hours, I got, because everything's electronic these days, on my chart thing online, I got my results back and everything else. And then even 2 days later, my family doctor, who actually got me in, the nurse called me just to let me know that everything came back normal and whatever else. But after I got dressed and left, I immediately called my mom and I was like, bad mommy, you told me that the 3D thing, they didn't squish. And she goes, well, the last time I went in and had a 3D, they just scanned it. They didn't squish anything. And I was like, what?
Yeah, she had a 3D ultrasound, which they used to do only if you had an abnormal mammogram.
Okay.
And then I think they would still do somebody interact with us. Somebody email me or prove that you're actually seeing our Twitter account. So feel free to tell me that I'm wrong. But I think that they used to do like the squishy mammogram. Mm-hmm. And then if it came back abnormal, you would have to do the 3D mammogram. But then every 6 months, until it was clear or until they figured out what it was, you had to do both, like in the same visit. But yeah, you're right. It was a like how you get baby faces in utero, which is creepy. Don't show me those pictures. I either want to see the baby or not that. Stop it. So yeah, I think they did both. And I'm not even sure why they're like, no, it's 3D, unless it's the fact that, like, you know, doing a 360 photo is actually 900 cameras in a circle.
So that's the thing. I think it's called 3D. I think all the machines now are 3D because of the type of pictures that they take.
Right. So they can reassemble them to look like a whole boob.
But there's still 3D squishy machines and then 3D scanning machines.
Yeah. I know we had talked, it's not off the air, whatever. We had talked IRL. And so I had my first one at 40, but I got implants at 34. Okay. Probably. Trying to think of how old they are. They have a birthday. And when you're young and you get what you want, and to be clear to, if we do reach young women, I didn't get them for any other purpose other than the fact that sounds so bad. I didn't get them to attract dudes. I didn't get them to attract girls. There's a certain thing that I had in my head of what I always felt like I wanted to look like. And that was the route to get it. I was my entire life, no matter how skinny or big I was an A cup, 34 to 38 A cup. And I didn't want to do that. So I get the implant. I knew to get it under my muscle. My roommate at the time had already had it from the same doctor. And he, God bless his heart, he was like, you're going to need drains and pumps, because I told him, Marcaine pump is what they call it, to where it's just constantly numbing the area.
Okay.
And then like little drainy I forget what they're called, J Pratts, the little things that look like squeezy bottles, but instead they're collect your fluid bottles.
Instead of squishing it back in.
Right. Yeah, it just comes out. Don't squeeze it back in. And when I went to him, he was like, well, so what are you looking to do? And I was like, put whatever the hell you can get in there. I weigh 180 pounds at the time. I was like, just stick whatever you can get in there.
Yeah.
What you don't realize is that there's a process on how your skin reacts to it. How it stretches, that depends on collagen in your skin. My grandma gave me great collagen. Thanks, Gram. And then, so I did that so young that when I turned 40, which was only 6 years later, so apparently I wasn't that young. But when I turned 40, I go to the, I go to get my mammogram, and she's like, oh, you have implants? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, this is going to be uncomfortable. And I'm like, it was already going to be uncomfortable. What are you going to do? And they literally have to like grab the front of, so whichever direction they're going to squish it.
Yeah.
They grab it and they start like gathering the tissue together, like they're pulling handkerchiefs out of a clown's mouth. So they're just pinching and pinching, and then they shove back on your chest to like help flatten the implant, and then they keep pulling the tissue out until they think they have enough of it. They put you on the thing. She keeps her hand on your tissue until she gets the plate down, and the plate is holding your implant back because it's now behind this plate, and then she continues to compress it. And because I was an A cup, that's all the boob tissue I have. Like, it's like
there's not a lot there.
There's a tiny little bit of boob tissue. And I was like, damn it. And then they have to do it 3 times, 4 times, whatever it is, because she's like, we do it flat, and then we do it horizontal, and then we do it side to side.
Thankfully, I only had to do 4 pictures.
Yeah.
So I had to do 45-degree angle in each, and then just like the horizontal. And she warned me beforehand because it was my baseline that we might have to do another one. But thankfully, we got everything in on the
That's
first.
good.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, thank God we don't have to do that anymore. But apparently, I have very dense breast tissue. So forewarning, people, sorry if this was too much information for you.
What exactly does dense breast tissue do?
So apparently it means that the tissue that I have is so like, there's not a lot of fat in it.
Yeah.
So it's a very dense in there. So when
You have lots of boob tissue.
yes. So
and
when they take a picture of it, sometimes they can't see through everything because it's
You have an
so
opaque
much.
breast.
I have an opaque breast. So that's why I'm also at high risk because they can't really see inside there as well. So like they do like a
Great. So do the freaking ultrasound like how you make baby faces.
right? Like do that next time. But yeah, so now I have to go back every year and get one now because I've gone the first time and because I'm high risk, and they do a risk evaluation on your family history, but also like other factors and things like that. And I think the cutoff line is like 20%. So
Right.
if you're above 20%, then you're high risk. If you're below 20% based on your factors, then you're okay. And you can do it every so many years or whatever
Yeah.
else. So I'm at like 23.5%.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I have to go every
Lucky
year now.
you.
I know. So I was
It's not
like,
a lottery
okay.
you want to win.
So I get to do this every year now. Fantastic.
Yay. No, I understand. It's very serious, but like when I was younger, I would read about people who were getting the BRCA and were getting this genetic testing, and they were like, yeah, too much of a crapshoot. So like Angelina Jolie, she did the testing. She knew that her mother had, I think her mother died of breast cancer or ovarian cancer, one of those. And so she went and did the testing, and they were like, you almost 100% are going to get ovarian cancer or breast cancer or
Right.
both. And she was like, great, let's take it all out.
Right.
And when I was younger, I didn't understand that. And now, I mean, like, as I got older, I was like, oh, hell yeah, like, just take it all off. I'm down for, I mean, I know it's traumatic.
Yeah.
But I'm down for like adapting to it. And
Right.
then things have changed so much. I'm not even sure that I would reconstruct.
Yeah, the procedures and everything are so much safer now than they used to be.
And then, I mean, if you have to do a mastectomy, I don't want to do the saline balloons that help, the expanders that help expand it. I think I would just like walk around. I might get tattoos.
Yeah.
Across my entire chest, not nipples, just get like a floral.
Can you imagine some of the shirts and dresses you could wear? And you never have to wear a bra again.
It doesn't matter what weight I am. So, at the time, at one point, my skin had stretched enough to where my implant was at full size, and it still is at full size, but the rest of my body has gotten bigger. I was like 175 pounds, and so I was a 38 triple D, which it doesn't matter what you wear, it looks obscene. Like, and then I have a little bit of body dysmorphia with it because I didn't get them until a few years ago. Well, not a few years ago. Anyway, I didn't get them until... How old are they? I got them in 2006.
Oh, God, you're going to make me do math.
2006, 2016. 14 years ago. 15.
15 years?
Yeah, my boobs are going to be 15 years old in June.
Nice.
They can't even drive. So
They're well into their teenage years.
can't drive. They can't drink. They're pretty much useless. But when I had them, or when I still have them, they're mine. I paid for them. My grandmother paid for them, but whatever. So when I don't see them as large. And especially when when I was at a much lower weight, I would look down, I would see myself in a mirror or I would see myself in clothes and I'm like, I probably could have gone bigger. And then on occasion, that filter isn't in my face and I'm like, Jesus Christ, you circus freak. Like, what the hell are you walking around with? But because I don't gain weight in my breast, my band size gets bigger because my back gets wider when I gain weight.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a lot of breast tissue. It didn't have fat in it. I don't deposit fat there. So I have the exact same size breast,
Yeah.
no matter what size I am. And I'm really hoping to get to a size 14 just to look obscene again.
So that's
I want to be
where
obscene in 50.
I get real confused by the whole thing because then it's like, okay, well, so you don't have a lot of fatty tissue there, but like when I lose weight, I will lose weight there. When I gain weight, I gained weight there.
I would have been, I probably wouldn't have gotten my cousin. I have a cousin who, states that it's a truth. I've seen it happen. She has smaller boobs when she's thinner.
Yeah.
She will go, I think, from a C cup to a double D, depending on her weight.
Yeah.
And she's got like bras and all of it. It's like, that never happened to me.
Now, I will say it's not so drastic. I will say, because I've gone, like, I'm probably like 100-pound difference between, when I was younger, when I'm older, whatever else. And I will say, so when I was younger and I was down in like the 145, 155 range, I was a B. And now I'm over 200 and I'm in a C.
Yeah.
But my waistband size gets much...
Your waistband size?
My waistband size.
Back size? Back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your waistband is
Not
down
the
here.
waistband.
If you're wearing your bra around your waist size,
your bra band.
You should
Bra
pull
band?
your boobs up higher.
Yeah, they probably need that. But no, the band size is definitely more fluctuation than the cup size.
Awesome.
But it's definitely a little bit of a difference. Especially because, like, the band size, I feel like, is not consistent with the cup size.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking at my drink. I wonder if we can text her and be like, can you bring us more?
Yeah, we can.
What are you drinking, by the way? Are you doing one of your special mixes? We are at Star City Brewing Company again. Again, we do not work for Star City Brewing Company. We do not speak for the brand.
We just
or
enjoy
the bar.
Their alcohols.
We just drink here. And they let us pay for our own drinks. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I am having, they came out with they make their own wines.
Nice. Oh, yeah. They have, what did they just release? Peach and strawberry?
They just released peach and strawberry. So I adore strawberry. And so I had the bartender. I like to do lots of mixes because...
Oh, don't let me forget. I have to play Strawberry Wine 22 times
Yes.
on Touch Tunes.
My favorite song. And I'm not even lying about that. It's my favorite song. I love Strawberry Wine. The song and the drink. But so the bartender, she knows that I like to mix the wines and things like that together, make my own flavors. And I also like to dilute them a little bit.
Don't ask to do this.
It's super annoying to her.
It's a special privilege allotted to Brandy. She might do it if I were down there, but she wouldn't be happy about it.
So what I do is they have 20-ounce mugs. And then, wine pours like
you
5
have
ounces.
a 20-ounce mug
I have a 20-ounce
because
mug.
you're a premium lifetime member. I am too. I'm saying it like I don't.
I was going to say, you're a member.
I'm saying it like I don't suffer from privilege.
So here's what I do. So the wine pours are 5 ounces each, right? So I got a glass of strawberry wine, a glass of lemon wine, mix them together and put them in the big mug. And then the next 10 ounces of that glass I filled with soda water.
Oh, nice.
So it makes it bubbly. So it's like bubbly strawberry lemonade.
That sounds great.
It's delicious.
I got the Legend Red. I don't know what it is, but it has a pretty decent, it's like a 7.3.
It's like an Irish ale, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's got a little sour in it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's supposed to, but I can drink it.
I mean, do you like it?
Oh, no, it's not Legend Red. It's Building 26.
Oh, Building 26. Okay, I got this one. You ready?
No, Legend Red is super vivid. It is super, I like it. It's warm.
Yeah.
It's toasty. It rolls around in your mouth really well.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Building 26 because I like it, but it has a higher alcohol
It has a higher alcohol content, and the Building 26 is a bière de garde. It's a French farmhouse ale.
Nice.
I memorized
You
that.
listen.
Because I think, was it last time? It was one of the, all right.
I've drank it before.
It was either 2 or 3 podcast, and one of us was drinking it, and I guessed on that. And then afterwards, I had to ask the owner and be like, oh my God, did I get this right? And he was like, yes. And then he explained things, and I was like, all right, I'm only going to remember beer.
I didn't ask you to explain it.
and
I just
French
asked you if I
farmhouse.
was right. I feel like we have, the owner, I'll just refer to him as the owner. The owner had a program here, which actually any of you in the Dayton area can join. They are doing homebrew classes.
Oh, yeah.
So my partner did the homebrew class with a mutual friend of ours. Husband. I like to refer to them as, yeah. So you're her husband. She's not your wife. So So they went together, and then they both started brewing beer, and I think the novelty wore off for the friend's husband. Definitely has my mindset when it comes like, okay, I learned it. I don't want to do it anymore.
Right. I learned it and I'm good now. I just want to drink things.
Done. But so we went all out. Like I was on, my partner doesn't do Facebook, and he was like, can you go out on the marketplace? And I was like, the marketplace? Yeah, I can do that, honey. What do you want? He was like, I would like to find a chest freezer. And we had already started using one that he like got at Menards or Lowe's or whatever for a stupid price.
Yeah.
But it was small. And I'm like, what else do you need? He was
What else is required?
like, what is the size that you would like? And he was like, well, tell me what sizes are out there. And I was like, that's not how this works. I'm not going to sit here and be like 10, 12, 15, whatever the cubic feet that you're looking for. So I found one, and I was like, okay, it's 13 and a half cubic feet. I don't know what that means, but he seemed really excited about it. And it was $150, but we had to drive just over the Cincinnati border to get it, which was great because then we stopped and got chili dogs at Dixie Chili. I don't know. You can get their hot dog sauce in the markets around here.
Nice.
It's really good. People around here like Skyline and Gold Star, and unless you like cinnamon and chocolate in your chili, don't.
I will say I don't taste it. Okay, I have terrible taste buds. I do not have a palate, and I'm putting air quotes around that because like people are. I love wine, but like,
Oh, you don't do notes and bouquet? And-
no, when they're like, I can taste leather, I'm like, it either tastes like a foot, or it tastes good, or like fruit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those are like my three wine.
My things are it tastes sweet, sour, or I know what dry tastes like.
Right.
I'm like sweet, sour, or dry. With food though, I don't know what I'm tasting, so I frequently will ask whoever cooked it, like, what is that? Like what? And I fixate on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what part of my mental health that is, but then I will fixate on what I'm tasting, and then that's the only thing I can taste. And you need to tell me what I'm tasting because I can't taste anything until you tell me.
I feel like I could see where you would get like zone in on the chocolate or the cinnamon, or so that's the thing. When I taste Skyline though, like I don't taste. Like I know there's chocolate and cinnamon in there. Like in my brain, I know that that's a fact but I don't taste it.
Yeah. People in other states find it weird.
Yeah.
Even though I listen to the big radio show that comes out of Indianapolis, we can say it, whatever. It's not going to cause anything. The Bob and Tom show. And they were talking about, the chili because they come to Cincinnati every once in a while. And the one guy was like, it has cinnamon in it. And I'm like, look, you either like it or you don't. Drunk chili dogs from Skyline were the best thing ever.
Oh, they're great.
But the Dixieland chili was great. But the Keyser wasn't a Keyser. These people buy estates. When we went down to get this freezer, they buy estates. So I show up with my minivan. They were like, do you have a trailer? I'm like, no, this shit'll fit in the minivan. We checked out the dimensions. It's going to fit. I think we just looked up the freezer online and we were like, yep, that'll work. So we get down there and it was only $150 for a 13 and a half cubic foot chest freezer, which he seemed thrilled about.
Nice.
I don't know if he told me he got fry boots for $250, I'd be like, hell yeah, high five. He's like, the Keyser is $150 and it's exciting. I was like, I will. I keep calling it a Keyser. You have to make it a Keyser. So then my nerd and I came home, and he, I don't know, if you guys want to have him on, I will have him explain it to you. It'll be an uncomfortable conversation for all of us. So he got a Raspberry Pi thing and a thermostat thing and wood and taps, and he made a collar around it so that the lid actually closes down on the collar. And then you basically break the thermostat on the freezer and control it externally so that you can keep the beer at an optimal thing. And then he just brewed beer like he was going out of his mind. And he already brewed mead. I think that's why he took to it, is because he brewed mead. That is how, oh my God, I hope my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law don't listen to this.
Mead takes forever, doesn't it?
Yes. We have mead in the basement right now. But he, that's how, not how we met. Kind of, but yeah. So that's a story for another time. Maybe after this one. Anyway, so we went and got it. He broke all the things. He made the collar, which is just a wood frame that goes around it, and then he put taps in it, and we have currently 8 beers on tap. And then your partner started getting him carbonation tanks. I think he comes and fills them here or whatever for whatever the price is. And so then we got rid of the Soda Stream because he has a 5-gallon tank of carbonated water and he just makes his own shit. And I love him to pieces. In the morning, I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, you're doing that. Okay. It's a sad day when we run out of it. It's way cheaper than a Soda Stream. Soda Stream, don't sue us.
I will say I bought myself a Soda Stream for Christmas, and it's probably my new favorite thing in the kitchen.
So you do know that you can take those tanks back to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go get them refilled and everything else. And so I haven't had to refill mine yet, thankfully.
Yeah.
But I started drinking seltzer water because it was probably in the fall when it was really hot out.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of those days I was working and doing a second job, and I was out at a football field, and it was just hotter than hell. And we stopped at a Kroger, and I was like, I need some water. And for some reason I wanted like lime flavored water, and all I could find was like lime LaCroix. So
LaCroix.
So I bought a case of that, and I took it, and I was like, oh, I really like this. So then I started trying different brands because it's stupid expensive. So I was like, all right, Kroger brand. And the Kroger brand, which if you don't live in Ohio, I don't know how far Kroger goes. Midwest,
I don't either,
probably.
but it's the same people that own basically Albertsons, Save-A-Lot, Kroger.
Oh, okay.
There's something else. Those are all the same.
We used to have a Save-A-Lot in my hometown. We didn't have a Kroger. We had a
I
Save-A-Lot.
think there was Save-A-Lot when I lived in the East End.
Okay.
Like over off of, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say over off of what.
So they have their own brand, and so I started buying that. But the problem was we started working from home, and well, not started. We were already working from home when this whole thing happened, and I started buying 12 packs of them, and I was going through like, I don't know, 6 cans a day at least. And so I was like, this is ridiculous. There's got to be a better way. So I started looking into it, and the Soda Stream thing came up, and I was like, I don't know if it's going to taste the same. But like whenever I'd go to the bar or whatever, like I said earlier, I mix my wine with soda water because it's real alcoholic. And after 4 glasses of wine, I get pretty toasty. So like at least if I mix it with some soda water, it takes me a little longer to drink. But so I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll try this. So finally on Christmas, I was walking around one of the stores, and, you know, there are all the deals and whatever else. And I was like, you know what? I got a bonus from work. I'm going to spend some money on myself for Christmas. And I bought myself a Soda Stream.
Nice.
And I do not regret it because I've stopped buying cases of like.
Right.
Now I will say I still buy a case of like Coke Zero every once in a while, because even though I bought like the cola syrup to go with the Soda Stream, it's okay. It's not great.
Doesn't taste the same.
It doesn't taste the same, and it still has all the calories in it and the caffeine and everything else, and I'm kind of like, I'd rather just have a Coke Zero. So
Yeah, he still buys Monster from Sam's, but he fills up one of those big Soda Stream bottles. I don't know how I'm gonna outlive him. That statistically should not happen because I'm 12 years older, but I'm gonna outlive him because he takes that and fills it up. That's like a 1 liter bottle.
yeah, they're 1 liters.
Yeah. And whenever I am at a store that has the Energy X from Soda Stream, the Energy X Zero,
Okay.
I buy them. So like I was just at Target and I bought 6 of them. And if somebody else wanted them, oh well.
Right.
So, I don't care. So I just will clear the whole shelf and take them home. I don't care if they're on sale. They become really hard to find sometimes. The COVID hasn't helped.
Right.
But he'll have one of those every day. He starts his morning with those. Plus, he takes a Monster to work.
Okay.
And again, I'm like, and then he has 1 Diet Dr. Pepper a day.
You know what, though? He's pretty skinny, and I feel like that's probably why he is, because he's got so much caffeine popping in him. He's just like little Energizer bunny like all day long.
Maybe I need to drink more caffeine. My favorite thing to do during the day is to get to lunchtime and fall asleep. because I can go and make something in like 10 minutes and bring it back to my desk and eat it.
Yeah.
So there's no real lunch that I go and take, but I'm taking that hour a day and I go out and sleep on the couch with the dogs and they
Nice.
love it. They love it. I wake up hot as hell because 3 dogs are like, can we lay as close to you as possible? Awesome. And then my 2 cats come out and lay on top of me. It is a pet dander allergy person nightmare.
It's
Thankfully, I don't have any of those.
That is my personal nightmare because one day a week I have to spend my hour lunch break going to my allergist to get 4 shots, 2 in each arm, so that I can
Live with a dog?
no,
It's your cat?
live with the cat.
It's your cat.
It's my cat. Okay, so
That's love.
My partner, when he moved in, he had a dog and I had a cat. So when we moved in together, our animals are roughly the same age. They're like 1 month apart. So they're both turning 14 this year. My cat's already 14. So the cat's 14. He's 13. Very close to 14. And I went through a period where, all right, so we've established I'm 37.
Right.
I've always had like seasonal allergies. When I hit 35, all of a sudden everything just exploded. And I feel like we've talked about it before on the podcast about my allergies. But basically, when I went to the allergist and got everything tested, it was like, all right, you're allergic to literally everything except for dogs and feathers. So I'm not allergic to his dog, but I am allergic to the cat that I have personally had for the past 11 years. Because
You're like, why has my face been running all the time? And they're like, cat?
I adopted him when he was 1 and he's just been with me. And my sister immediately was like, oh my God, what's going to happen to Dexter? What are you going to do with him? And I'm like, I'm going to take a crap ton of allergy pills.
No, this is for life, bitches.
Yeah, I'm like, no, he's living with me now. I've been allergic to him. It's just going to like status quo. I'm just going to take a lot of pills so that I can continue to live with him because I'm not like getting rid of my cat.
No, and I applaud you for that. It's a decision to make as an adult. I get when somebody has a kid and they're like, man, the kid's miserable. But figure out a responsible way to rehome your pet. All of mine are rescues. Yours, Dexter, was a rescue.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. I hate when people are like, I have to rehome this dog because I chose to live in an apartment that doesn't take dogs.
Choose a different apartment.
Yeah, move someplace else.
Yeah.
There's probably a shittier apartment that you can get that would accept your dog.
Yeah.
And usually what it is that it's not that they don't accept dogs. It's a lot of times that they don't want to pay the pet deposit and then pay. And I was lucky when I moved out of my friend's house in 2008. I had 2 cats. They were assholes. If you didn't keep their litter box clean, they just piss wherever they wanted to. So I bought 3 litter boxes and kept them all clean because I wanted my deposit back, which I still didn't get back. But anyway, so I paid it. I just paid it. It was extra money up front, money I did not get back. And not because of anything they did. I broke my lease.
Yeah.
And they tried to guilt trip me. And I'm like, I don't know you. So I don't care.
Right.
Like you can I broke my lease to buy a house. And I was like, I don't kiss my ass.
And honestly, like,
What are you going to do? Put me down as an eviction?
Yeah,
I don't care.
I've bought a house. Those things don't always like come together on the perfect timing that you need them to happen. That happens with your lease.
Yeah, and they were going to charge me more money. I was against them charging me more money just because I went to month to month. Because I should have signed a 6 month ahead of time. But then they were like, it's like an extra $100 if you're month to month. I was like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Not going to do that. So they kept my entire deposit and graciously let me out of my lease, which I think that's their policy, like in hindsight anyway.
Right.
But like, don't be assholes.
Yeah, I
but
think-
also go someplace that your dog can go. And I'm not trying to guilt trip you. Not you, Brandy, but you
People.
you people.
You people.
What do you mean, you people?
We're yelling at our listeners.
Yeah, no, I got a very Robert Downey Jr. Tropic Thunder feeling. Don Cheadle, like, what do you mean, you people? So I'm tired of seeing it. And
It's
now
sad
that
when it
everybody's
happens.
going back to work, they're coming up with the shittiest excuses to return these dogs that they adopted.
Okay, that I have a problem with. So, like, there's some times where I feel like, okay, if you got an animal or whatever else, or you have family and like you have children or something, and then all of a sudden, like, the animals and the children do not get along, like, of course, I understand like you need to rehome your animals and things like that.
Right.
Find
We
a
all
good way to
we
do
all
it.
saw Tiger. Well,
Yeah.
probably not we all, because some of you were much younger than I am. But we all saw Tiger on the Brady Bunch, and they were going to get rid of him because that shithead that joined at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name is, but that little asshole was allergic to Tiger.
Yeah.
Turned out he wasn't. But anyway, I get that.
So I feel like there's very good reasons that it happens sometimes. And I think there's very good ways of doing it. But like when we were under quarantine and people were like, I need a pet because I'm lonely. And now that they're going back to work and they're like, oh, well, now I don't want this pet anymore. I'm sorry. That is not like,
No.
that's a sad sack excuse. And clearly that animal didn't mean anything to you.
Get on Tinder and take your chances with COVID.
You need an animal while you're feeling lonely? Get on Tinder.
Hey, just don't ruin some other animal's life that you're going to return.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that. I got into fostering, and then we're on hold until after the wedding because I just cannot. And we already have 3 dogs.
Yeah. So fostering additional puppies while you're trying to plan a wedding, I feel like is
Right.
Yeah.
Although at the time that we were doing the fostering, we tended to be ideal because all of my dogs like puppies, and a couple of them like other dogs, but they're not super great about it. But puppies, all of my dogs would like them. And then my 3rd dog is actually a foster fail. But we were fostering, and it's ideal because we take puppies.
Yeah.
And most people do not. And then we got a parvo litter. Or no, we didn't get a parvo litter. Sorry. I got Tilly, who had parvo, who we lovingly refer to as Tillbilly because she came from Kentucky. So she's a little Tillbilly instead of a hillbilly. Yeah. And she had parvo. So then you can't have puppies in your yard for like a year or two, minimum. So I just got out of the habit of having them. I had a couple of adult dogs, but I think we had 5 or 6 fosters, and I ended up keeping Tilly. So we'll get back in with another rescue because I see photos of my friends who rescue, and I'm like, oh, I want puppies. I want puppies. I'll even whelp them. I don't really want a pregnant mom. I don't want like 12-week-old puppies, but I do my job.
So I love animals, but I also view animals kind of like I do view children. And if you listen to the last podcast, you understand where I'm like, I want to play with them and then I want to give them back. And I love my cat and I love my partner's dog, but they're both getting old. And like the cat has gotten to the point where, so he was an indoor cat for the first, 10 years I had him.
Right.
So, but he was a feral cat that the Humane Society picked up. And so
he was super friendly when you adopted
right.
him.
So he was super friendly.
I was like, bitch, I don't trust you.
Right. It took a good couple years before he trusted me, which was fine because we kept to ourselves. And like when I first adopted him, actually my cousin adopted him for me. Like she sent me a picture and was like, I found him. He's the only animal in it was a random pet store that they had put him in. And so like he was all by himself. And so my cousin totally and he looked just like one of her cats.
Aww.
And she had a couple of cats. So she took a picture of him and like sent it to me and was like, he's all by himself. If you want him, I'll get him for you and I'll buy you all the things you need.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, okay. So I drove over to the pet store and I met her and like we filled out all the adoption paperwork and everything. And she bought me a litter box and food and all this other stuff. And so I brought him home. But it took a good couple of years before we warmed up to each other. We had a thing.
It's like moving in a guy that you don't know and being like, we'll just get to know each other.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's good. And like,
it's like an arranged marriage.
he does things on his own terms.
We'll grow on each other.
He's not a cuddler. You don't cuddle him. He will come to you. But it worked out really well because I was single at the time. So it was like I had him and he was kind of like my disgruntled like roommate.
So you were doing quarantine long before it was cool.
Right. But we finally hit the point where like we moved into the house and everything else. And so like we've moved a couple of times since I've had him. And now that I'm in my house and everything else and he's older, it got to the point where he really just wanted to go outside. And like he used to be an outdoor cat. He was a feral cat when he was first born. And even though it's been 10 years, whatever, like I knew he was desperate to go outside because I kept kicking him in the face when I would come home, and I felt real bad about it because I'd go to come in the door and I'd have to make sure I put my foot like first thing in,
Right.
because he would be trying to escape, and it's like I don't want to go running after him. And so he escaped a few times, and I'd go running after him into the alley and try and find him and everything else. And you know what? After a certain point, I was like, screw it. So, and I took him to the vet on a regular whatever basis. So I took him to the vet and I said, he keeps trying to escape outside. What do you think about him being outside? And she's like, well, he's up to date on his rabies shots and everything else. You've got your license. If he wants
He's
to go
probably not
outside-
going to go anywhere.
Yeah, she was like, let him go outside. He'll come back. And I was like, all right. So I tried it, let him out. A couple hours later, he comes back. I'm like, all right, cool. So this is what we've been doing for the past few years. The problem is with him now is that he gets in fights, and I don't know if it's with other cats, if it's like possums or whatever else, but like now, like he came home a few weeks ago and he has these really deep scratches on the one side of his neck. So I got real paranoid, and I went and bought all this cleaning solution stuff. You know, it's probably just salt water in a friggin' bottle that costs $25. But so like I cleaned it, and then I have this itch spray for him and everything else. And like he had hair that like he lost his hair around it and everything else, but it worked really well because then I could clean the wounds. And then his hair started growing back and everything else, and it's fine. But now he's got new scratches, and it's like, dude, like,
Yeah, it's time to just stay in probably.
well, that's the thing. So I'm like, all right, so do we just keep him in now? Because he's like clearly going out and getting into fights, but also he's the healthiest he's ever been.
Right.
Because he was overweight all the time.
Maybe you can make him a cat shed where it's just
I need to figure
Oh
something out.
no!
where he
Just
can go
get one of
outside
those things
and-
that like they have them for like dogs. They're like 4x8 or 4x10 or whatever, and
Yeah.
they're like these full little houses that are just made out of fencing, a little roof on it, and then it's not like he can dig his way out. Like
That's
if you
true.
put a dog in there, he'd be gone.
So make like a tunnel from the house to the little house that he
yeah,
can, like,
or
out
when
of a
he's like,
window
I want
or
to go
something.
outside, you pick him up, you toss him
Toss
in
him
the
in there and just let him like be outside in the house.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I need to figure something out because he's all intents and purposes he's healthy, except for the fact that every once in a while he gets in fights and comes home with new wounds, and I'm like, I don't appreciate this, but also you're 14, and I'm kind of like, there's a part of me that's like, all right, you're 14, you've lived a great life. If this is what you want to do, then go live your life and be you. But also, like, I don't want you to die because you like got attacked by another animal.
I feel like that was like 21 through 25 for me. Like, I don't know. What do? I go out. Sometimes there's a fight.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Sometimes I call my mom at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, so-and-so broke my nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the dog's just getting old, and now he's like pooping everywhere. And the other day he looked at me. I fed him, right? He goes into the kitchen to eat his food. He turns around and just stares at me while he pees on the floor. And I was like, God damn it. And I can't blame him because he's old and he can't help it. But like,
Yeah. Well, Tilly was young. So Tilly came to us from Kentucky. They said she was 3 months old, which would have been great, except which 12 pounds at 3 months old would have been fine, but she was 6 months old. So when we got her as a foster, sorry, excuse me. Skyline chili and beer, and 3 glasses of Barefoot before I got here. Nice.
oh, what kind though?
Moscato. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that again. It's very sweet. I have a box of Pinot there because I'm classy. I actually like Barefoot wine.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So I like
like
their
their
sweet.
Merlot.
I like their sweet red.
Oh, their sweet red's pretty good.
Yeah, I just don't. It didn't come in a box, so I wanted. That's sad that I call those little tiny 500 milliliter boxes single servings because they probably shouldn't be. But I'm like, but no, I would. Yeah, I would go out and. I don't know where I was going with this. I forgot what I was doing. But we'll start it over. So in my 20s, there became a point where I would go out and, as my dad called it, I would be catting around all week long. I had a really decent job. I lived at home, and why not go spend your money in a bar? And then there were a few occasions that fights would break out.
Yeah.
And I would be directly or indirectly involved in them. And so I just, I would, oh my God, I was at work one time. I worked at a restaurant down the street from one of the malls here, and I had to go pay a bill.
Yeah.
So I went into the mall and I heard somebody yell my name, and I was like, this is not going to go well. I'm just going to go. I was working a double, so this was my break in between the doubles. And I was like, not that I wasn't scared of the girl, but I'm like, this is not going to go well. And I don't think that I want to have this interaction right here and now. So I walked out into the parking lot. Whatever it was there before it was Macy's. I forget what it was. I don't know.
I don't know.
But before it was Macy's, it was Lazarus.
Oh, God, I used to love Lazarus.
Yeah, so I had to go pay my Lazarus bill, and I heard this girl yell my name. And so we really need to do drunk stories more often. Maybe we'll do one an episode. Who knows? So she followed me out. She was with her mom. And she was not old enough to drink. And I was maybe 21 or 22. I was working as a bartender at a restaurant where I had to wear a very flashy shirt and a t-shirt that said the joy of Mex. Just fucking horrible.
All right. My only question there is, did you get free queso?
Not free queso, but I could eat whatever tortillas I was making.
All right. I mean,
and then I had to make 30 gallons of margarita that I would pay somebody else to stir because I was usually hungover.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to smell was tequila.
Yeah, that sounds miserable.
Yeah. So she follows me out. This is not going to be a favorable light for me. We are, if you know where that, where the parking lot is, there's a T. At some point, there's a driveway that comes up to the center of the store, and then you go right or left to get to parking. So we're standing in the middle of the intersection, and she says, "Did you kiss my boyfriend?" Because we had not apparently, I know that we ran into him. She said, "Did you kiss my boyfriend?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "Well, he said you did." And I was like, "Technically, he kissed me." I wasn't.
I mean, I was about the technicalities.
I was like, technically, he kissed me. And she said, "Well, did you kiss him back?" And I was like, "No, I just stood there like a dead fish." Yes, I kissed him back. I was like, which if you were just standing there while he kisses you, it's probably why he kissed me. And not because he thought the likelihood of kissing me might, go somewhere.
Yeah.
So she took a swing at me. And I was like, all right, well, so I had learned from so bad. I really only had a couple of fights, and I was very young and stupid. I had learned from a fight earlier in the summer that you don't stand face to face with somebody when they're confronting you because you're just presenting an opportunity to get punched in the face.
Oh, yeah, that's.
So I had already turned sideways to talk to her. So that she had a smaller target. I also was skinny as shit when all this was happening. I don't know. It looked like skeletons wrestling in the parking lot is how thin we both were. So she threw a punch at me, and my whole childhood, my dad and I would wrestle, and there became a point in my life where my dad's like, "Shit, she can flip a full grown man." I don't want to do this anymore. But I was like, this is some badass shit. You can just throw men around. It's awesome. It came in handy when a 100-pound girl decided to take a swing at me. I was 115 pounds, whatever. We were evenly matched. She was a little taller. She had a little more reach than I did. She took a swing at me, and I was like, I am much better on the ground than standing here throwing punches with her. So I bent down, grabbed her jeans, pulled her feet out from under her, and sat on top of her. And for her benefit, I did not punch her. For the most part, I just sat on her. I got far enough up on her hips that I could hold her shoulders down.
Yeah.
And then I had my head under her chin and was pushing her chin up so that she couldn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But she was wailing on my back, and a boyfriend had very kindly told me after the fight that I had earlier that summer, put your fucking head down because the top of your head's the hardest part of your body. Quit putting your face in front of fists. And I was like, well, it's just a broken nose. So I knew I had my plan. I was like, put your head down. All she's doing is banging me on the head. As I was trying to get her down, she was scratching the shit out of me. And I was like, that is such a bitch move. Punch me or don't, but don't start clawing at me. I'm not going to kill you. I just want to stop you. So I was sitting on top of her, and I'm not going to go into it with some other things. I made a bad decision. Thank God she wasn't really hurt, but she said, we might as well say it. She said, don't bang my head into the pavement, which I had no intention of doing because I'm a fair fighter.
Right.
I just wanted to sit on her until authorities showed up and broke us apart. I was pretty sure I could take her ass, but I'm sitting on her and she said, don't bang my head on the pavement. I was like, what a fucking novel idea. So I grabbed her hair with my head under her chin, and I moved my head down a little bit so I could get her chin to bend. I was like, oh, that sounded like a watermelon. I don't want to do that. Only happened one time.
So full disclaimer, don't give your opponent ways to hurt you.
Yeah, right. I mean, she shouldn't have told me that. I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm not a horrible person. The whole reason that my fight earlier in that summer took so long is because I won't hit somebody from behind, but that bitch kept hitting me from behind. So yeah, I wasn't going to make the same mistake here. And then I was like, that sounded horrible. I don't want anything to do with that. And then the authorities came out. By authorities, I mean mall cops showed up.
Uh-huh.
And they separated us, and some woman not related to either of us runs out and says, I think they're sisters. I saw that brown-haired girl hit that blonde, or try to hit that blonde-haired girl, which was in my favor because I was the blonde-haired girl. And I was like, see, self-defense. And the guy goes, are you related? And I said, do I look like I'm related to that bitch? And she lunged at me and I punched her in the face. And the mall cop goes, all right, Rocky, let's call it a day. I'm like, sure. So we enjoyed it very much. Or no, we didn't enjoy it at all. I kind of was tickled about it because I wasn't hurt in the least. We went in, we got Polaroid pictures taken of us, because they banned us from the mall for a year. So somewhere in the...
I feel like you have to try to get banned from the mall.
I was like, how the hell am I supposed to pay my Lazarus payment? So they banned me from the mall. I went straight back to the restaurant, gave them, I had this girl's senior picture. And so she was like 18. I was 21. She was an adult, but even if she hadn't have been, she started it. So I call my mom and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to my friend's house, in which this girl went to another mutual friend's house. We're at separate mutual friend's house, and those two are on the phone with each other talking about how we looked individually. And the girl she went through with was like, what's Mindy look like? She was like, she's got a couple scratches on her neck, but nothing happened to Mindy. And she was like, her lip is fat. She has a lump on the back of her head, and I think she's starting to get a black eye. And I was like, hell yeah, she is. So I went to the restaurant, gave them her picture, and I banned her from the restaurant. I was like, she knows where I work because at the mall police station they said, what's your occupation? I said bartender. They said where? And I was like, you've got the door open and she's sitting out there like we're at the principal's office. They're like, what is your occupation and where do you work? I can say this because they don't exist anymore. I was like, I work at Cantina Del Rayo. There. And so I went to the bar to make sure that she couldn't ever get in or come find me. I don't know if they cared. I don't even know if they cared. And then we went back to our mutual friends' houses. She went there. I went to another one. They compared our war wounds and decided that I had won. I already knew that I had won. Yeah. But at least she didn't break my nose because it had been broken 3 months earlier.
Okay, well, first of all, we need to hear that story. But also, if there's anything I learned from high school, it's that when females get into a fist fight, they mean it. when dudes get into a fist fight, they are just talking shit until somebody will break that up.
Right, but then they become friends. Like, even if it
Right.
turns physical, they're cool after that. And I was like, bitches
It's
will
because
hold
they
a
don't
grudge.
actually want to fight. Yeah. No, girls when they get into fights. So I went to a high school that was very, there was a lot of fights.
Okay.
And I didn't realize this was an abnormal thing, but we had a fight. I mean, we had a good fight at least once a week, but we had like fights at least every day.
Yeah, that doesn't happen when you go to a high school with 400 people.
Oh no, we had 450 people in my class.
Oh no, we had 400. We had 400 people in the entire high school,
Oh.
9th grade to 12th grade. I think it
Yeah.
was like 420.
Okay. All right. So yeah,
Sorry, it was like 425. Let's not call it 420.
I feel like freshman year we started with 450 in our class, and I feel like by the time we graduated, it was like maybe 400 that graduated. So
I mean, you lose a few.
you do. You lose a few along the way.
There's always attrition. Actually, 50, I could figure out the attrition, but I'm not going to. But that was like less than a quarter of attrition.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible.
That's horrible math. It was like 1/8.
Yeah. But we had the most epic girl fights in our high school. Like epic. Like there would be hair pieces flying across hallways.
You had hair pieces back then. No, we just had giant hair.
Oh no. There was there would be wigs and hair pieces and like there was blood.
Oh, like those fake ponytails that made you look like Karen from Will and
like
Grace.
weaves. Like,
Oh shit.
yeah. Like there would be weaves like flying across hallways, but also fake ponytails and things. So there was one very memorable one that I remember, just because I happened to be walking around a hallway and we had, I think it was like 3 stories. I could be remembering wrong just because it's been so long, but we had 3 stories. And so the stairwells that went in between the stories though would like go down and then there'd be a platform and then they'd go down again. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you had like a little platform.
Sorry, I am listening, but
You're
I'm
fine.
also like having a Facebook fight with somebody who's a shitty person.
Of course.
I know I don't know them, but I know the person that they're friends with, and so I feel like I should just be a dick.
Well, I appreciate that because I'm usually the person that's not a dick on Facebook, but I have friends that defend me and I really appreciate their dickishness when it comes to people that are like being a dick. But so I remember there was one fight where there was these 2 girls fighting and it ended up down on the platform in between the like stairwell.
Right.
And I remember the PE teacher who himself was a dick because I remember him at one point saying that no girl ever got an A in his class because, you know, it's physical education and there's no way a girl could get an A in physical education. But his entire back was just covered in blood.
I would have totally been, he would have loved me because I never earned an A in physical education.
I was always that person that was an overachiever. So like walking into a class with a teacher that was like, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to get an A in this class. I was like, fuck you, buddy. Like I should be able to get anything. Like if I put enough effort into it, if you're already going to tell me that I'm not going to get an A, well then why should I even try?
Right.
Like there's no reason for me to even try in this class.
And like, you want me to get an A in like volleyball?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right. So he was standing there and
I didn't even learn how to score bowling because it just wasn't going to happen. Just fucking pass
I
me.
mean, summer school was the best for PE.
You had summer school?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
finish the fight story
Okay.
and then we'll talk about
The fight story. So, like, he was standing there, and one girl he had pinned behind him, like, up against a brick wall. So she's, like, behind him, swinging around his shoulders, but her nose is bleeding from getting punched in the face. So his entire back of his shirt, which he had a white shirt on, was just soaked in blood.
Yeah, nothing bleeds like a broken nose.
Oh, yeah. So there's just, like, you know, the whole back of him is red. And plus there's blood on the walls and everything else because there's still swinging happening, and she's, like, spraying it all over the place. And then the girl's still in front of him. So he's got one pin behind him with his back against the wall. And then he's holding the other one in front of him, like trying to hold her out like an arm length away. But she's still swinging and shit. So like she's hitting him every once in a while. And I mean, these 2 girls were going at it. And I love it because one of them was a cheerleader. And I think one was maybe on the basketball team. I don't remember exactly.
Those are opposing people technically, because you don't want fucking female cheerleaders showing up at your girls' basketball game. So, and they don't.
No, No, but like it was in the
Nobody
middle.
cheers for girl sports.
It was like a Wednesday
Right.
in the middle of the day. Like they're just going at it, and he's holding one, the other one, and then there's so many students blocking the hallway on the stairs and like looking at the balcony and underneath,
Yeah.
on both like sides. So like everybody's just watching, like, oh my god.
Yeah, but like with chicks, they aren't like fight.
No.
They're just in awe, like what the hell is happening?
Because they don't need egged on. They're going to keep fighting no matter what. Like, they had a teacher in front of them and they were still going at it. Girls
Bitches
are
be
going
like-
to fight.
Yeah, bitches be like really serious.
Once they get into the moment where they're going to fight, they're going to keep fighting until somebody physically pulls them
Yeah.
away. So they took 2 more teachers to come and pull them apart before they actually stopped fighting.
Nice.
I was like, these are the fights that we had in high school. So I'm like, and then the guys would sit there and just scream at each other in the hallway until
Yeah.
teachers came. And then it was like nobody ever threw a punch.
So we just to clarify, it's not that nobody wants to cheer for female sports. It's that they just don't send cheerleaders. In our day,
No,
they
they
did
don't.
not send
No.
cheerleaders to girl sports.
I was a cheerleader for a while, and we did not go to any girls'
Okay,
sports.
well, were you a mat maiden? What did they call them?
Oh, the wrestling.
Yeah, the wrestling cheerleaders.
So we had,
I might have qualified for that.
No, I was a
did not,
stat
though.
girl for wrestling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did the stats for wrestling.
I was an athletic trainer.
No,
I just taped up people and got sexually harassed by.
I rode the bus and got
Males.
sexually harassed, and then kept score during the matches.
The first soccer game I had to go to by myself because for some reason they felt that freshmen should go and be the only medical assistants.
sorry, what?
there was an ambulance. So every sport that you go to, they have to have medical
Yeah,
professionals. But if it's not ambulance worthy, there's a 14 or 15-year-old running out with their cases, and I'm like, yay, I've got my kits. But I was a freshman, and the soccer team only had 2 freshmen on it. And when I went to get off the bus, I had 2 kits and ice bags, and I just had shit. I was not the fucking manager, by the way. I didn't carry water bottles. I don't give a shit about your Gatorade. I'm there to make sure that your tape is sticking, and when you get knocked in the nuts with a soccer ball, I will drop you so that
Did you have giant popsicle sticks for when their legs got broken?
No, I don't give a shit. No, that was ambulance territory.
All right.
I was there for bloody noses, sprained ankles, ice.
Did you have tampons for bloody noses?
Yes, I did.
They are the best.
They are. Although I was like, can we get some Junior Lights because these are huge.
Oh, they had the ultra super ones.
No, they had just the regular ones, but those are hard to fit up a nostril.
Yeah, they are. Kids' nostrils
Plus,
especially.
we had a soccer player that would chronically dislocate his shoulder, but he would deal with it. He did it all in his, he was like, I'm gonna go put my shoulder back. Can you just
was
hold
he
the
the guy
bus?
from Lethal Weapon? He'd walk over and just jack it against something
on
and,
the back of
put
the
it back.
bus. And then
Oh.
what they don't show in Lethal Weapon is that you would then immediately vomit.
Oh god.
From the pain. So he would just come up to me and be like, can you hold the bus? Because I got to go take care of my shoulder. As his hand is down near his knee. And I'm like, sure, you need help because I don't really mean it. He'd just go take care of it. But I went to get off the bus, and one of the seniors, he sadly, he did graduate, but he passed away shortly thereafter. He had a medical issue, and he was the nicest guy I'd ever met. So we were getting ready to get off the bus, and he tells the freshmen who were in my class,
Yeah.
he was like, where do you guys think you're going? Grab her equipment and take it to the field. He was like, players carry trainer equipment. And I was like, yeah, they do. Yeah, I was fully prepared to
I'm
make
important.
7 trips to get
Nice.
my shit so that I could make sure that everybody was fine.
Very nice.
Now, all I really did was tape ankles, and they send you to camp every summer for a week so that you can learn this shit. I got to see a cadaver knee one time, and then we got to learn tendons and what you can pull on and not pull on. So I liked being in high school, but I was not a cheerleader. I was not cheerleader material.
I was not
Actually,
cheerleader material either. I quit
there's-
senior year.
Pretty sure there's only one friend on my Facebook feed. Hi, Holly, because I know you listen. That was a cheerleader that I'm actually friends with.
So I was a cheerleader because I loved I liked gymnastics. And so for some reason, when I hit high school, I was like, I really want to do this. And I tried out and I made it and I really loved it. And then we hit junior year and like it was a full year thing for us because we did camps in the summer that we competed and learned new things. And then in the fall, we would do football. And then in the winter, you would do basketball. Like there were some schools that do different squads for different things. We had one squad, you try out in the spring and you were it for the whole year.
Right. We just had, I think we had junior squad and varsity squad.
Yeah. So we had a freshman squad and then we had, technically it was freshman and then varsity, but then within the varsity squad, we had a ton of us.
Right.
And we would all go to the varsity games on Friday nights, but then the JV games on Saturday mornings, there was a separate, like, of
Yeah.
the JV.
Yeah, we had
of the
those.
varsity, it was like, okay, there's a select few of you, and we would rotate. So, like, everybody had to go to a JV game here and there. But it was nice. But the problem is that, like, we started really getting into, like, tumbling and everything else. Like, I used to do back handsprings all the way down the football field.
Shit, no. I can
was
barely
fantastic.
do a hand, not a hand. I could barely do a cartwheel.
Yeah.
With keeping my legs straight. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was a cartwheel because it's like every 7-year-old's cartwheel, except I'm 14.
Yeah.
And then I found out that round offs were much easier to do.
Round-offs
and I
are
could do,
so much easier
I
to
could do a round off like a motherfucker, but if
Yeah.
I did it today, I would re-dislocate
Oh,
one shoulder
yeah.
and I would dislocate the one I haven't yet.
There's no way. But like, and back then I thought that was super cool. But like, it was no, like, I liked gymnastics, but like that was the epitome of my gymnastics. Like, I couldn't do back flips or anything else. Like, I couldn't do any of that other stuff.
You did reveal at darts though that you were a cheerleader, which is the first I'd ever heard of it. And
Yeah.
I was like, do a pike.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck you.
I could have done a pike like 15 years ago. But yeah, so then senior year I quit because it was like, I felt like every year when you're in high school, like everything's done by a committee.
Right.
And especially when you're talking about like taking kids to gymnastics classes and everything else, all the parents want to have opinions. And it got so just convoluted with, well,
Parentally political.
Yeah. And it was like, well, this parent wants us to go to this place. This parent wants us to go to this place. This parent doesn't want us to go to this place because this thing happened. Or this parent doesn't want to go to this place because this thing happened. Okay, but
Just let your kids live.
Oh, it
it's none
was-
of your business.
Yeah.
As long as your child is not getting pregnant or getting somebody pregnant,
Right.
or catching something or taking something that they're addicted to, just leave them the fuck alone.
So it became a very like,
You were probably in the very last era, or close enough to that. Like latchkey kids don't exist now.
yeah, latchkey was around when I was a kid.
Like my parents were very good parents, but like at a certain point, and it was very young, they asked my uncle, who's an officer, like, when can we start living our home alone? I'm concerned that was what their thought was.
Well-
But he was like, whenever you feel that in Ohio, whenever you feel it's just comfortable to be able to take care of herself in an
Right.
emergency and da. So my parents decided that was 10, maybe 11. Someplace in there.
I
So-
feel like I started babysitting at like 12 or 13.
I never babysat.
I babysitted.
That's not true. I babysat
I babysat. Very few.
I babysat my cousin one time.
Nice.
I mean, like by myself, not with my parents there. I went to their apartment and babysat him. And that was a no-go for me because he was just now getting potty trained. And I was like, I'm not helping him. I'm not touching it. Like, that just seems creepy. I'm not touching. Like,
I have an excellent babysitting story, but before I get to that, so on the topic of parents leaving you alone, so by time I got to high school, mopeds were very big.
okay, that was never a thing.
Okay, so when I was in school,
In my school, tractors might have been a thing.
Okay. So mopeds became a thing where like they were really trendy or whatever else. And so my stepdad is a mechanic and he was very big on cars and everything else. So we found a moped, like an old school moped that we like bought at a garage sale or something like that my mom
Like not
found.
like the what do they call? Not like a Vespa, but like the
No, not a Vespa. It looks like
looks like a dirt bike / bicycle.
dirt bike, bicycle kind of, but it's motorized. So when I was in high school, like end of middle school into high school, mopeds started becoming a thing, but like the new trendy ones would go up to like 50 miles per hour or whatever. So we found one for me that like was at a garage sale and my stepdad like, you know, made it so that it worked and everything else. The fastest it would go was 25 miles an hour.
Oh shit! I feel like you put a governor on that.
Oh no! And like if I was going downhill, I felt like I could get it up to 35. But like it was one of those things where like you had to like step on the pedal to get it to start. So like you would turn it on.
Oh, like kickstart it?
Yeah, to kickstart it, you had to like push down on the pedal. And
I'm not
like,
about it.
Oh, but I was 14 and it was my way of driving to high school.
You're so lucky because I got a 10 speed.
Yeah.
I asked for it, but I got a 10 speed.
So I did get a motorized bicycle to get to like cheer, but I got it so that I could drive myself to cheerleading practice and stuff. So like that was really nice because I had my own transportation. So it was nice because it gave me a little independence as a kid. It was like, all right, so I can get to cheerleading practice and back and everything else.
Right.
And, you know, so that was nice. But also it was horrifying at the same time because I was on this like baby powder blue, like little moped that
Death
went
machine.
25 miles an hour, and I had my big old white helmet on and everything else. And then there's this pack of boys, you know, all the popular boys
Right.
in the class that are riding by me going 50 miles an hour down the street, like 5 of them at a time, just like
Yeah.
passing me, like blowing by. And I'm like, yep, it's fine.
So I have the 80s children version of that, which is I wanted to BMX so bad because I grew up in a neighborhood of boys and I grew up in the middle of nowhere. So the fact that we had anybody to play with, I think I said in one of the past podcasts, like I ran around way too long without a shirt on, and it probably wasn't that long, but like I was, we have 2 elementary schools, and I did not go to elementary school with the boy that lived closest to me because my babysitter was in the zone of the other elementary school.
Okay.
So we didn't go to elementary school together, and I think I was 7 before he realized I was a girl. He just thought I had an odd name.
Yeah.
So didn't wear a shirt, only had boys to play with until Eileen moved into the neighborhood, and then at least she was a female friend. I'm not good at being like a girlfriend. I suck at it. So I liked to run around on bikes with the boys, and I had a 3-speed that was my mom's bike.
Yeah.
Like it had the little like spring carriage thing on the back of it that my dad used to ride me around on it because I thought it was a kid's seat. It's not. I think it's like to put a 6-pack of beer behind you or carry luggage.
I mean, it's probably for groceries or something.
Probably, but it was for my ass. And then so they let me have it. And all the boys have BMX bikes. And my mom was like, nah, you don't really need one. And the 3-speed was the graduation for my banana seat. Like,
Oh, I remember the banana seat.
move the pedals backwards
Yeah.
to stop kind of thing. So we are not supposed to be uptown. I live in the country. To get uptown, you have to be on one of 2 highways. And we took the less traveled one because we were responsible. So we're on it, and then as you're riding up the highway, it's a little back street town. Like we had one stoplight at the time, and we had one flashing light that sometimes was a stoplight, but only during school hours. And we ride up and we pass the high school and we go over to the junior high, which is where I think most of us were going. It was like 5th grade to 8th grade. And there is this long strip of asphalt. So there's these huge steps all the way up that we just sat on them. Nobody went in that way. That's not how you got into the school. Probably 100 years ago it was.
Right.
So there's this long strip of asphalt and a flagpole, and then and then the asphalt continues until you get to the street.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're shitting and getting all the way down the thing. And like they're doing that thing where like the boys who ride BMXs are like, my hands are moving right and left, my hands are moving right and
Oh,
left.
yeah. And the whole bike's moving back and forth and back and
because
forth.
they're standing.
Yeah.
And so I stood up on my 3-speed and I was like, get it. And then my chain fell off.
Oh, no.
And I went down on my left side and I skidded a good 10 feet on my shoulder, elbow, hip, and ankle.
No.
And one of the guys ran over and was like, you can cry. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing they thought girls did when they got hurt. And I was like, fuck no, I can't cry. It's fine.
I'm okay. It's okay.
And none of us are supposed to be uptown.
Right.
Or in town. So he takes me to his aunt's house. And I'm just, the whole time I'm thinking, had you just gotten me a BMX, my chain would have fallen off the fucking bike. I would not be here with no skin on my body.
No.
And I don't know how I thought that my mom and dad were never going to notice it. So his aunt took me into a shower and was like, I don't even remember if I was wearing a bra back then. There's no reason really for me to wear a bra. So I went in, she takes me into like her stand-up shower and said, go ahead and like, here's a towel for like to cover your chest and strip down to your underwear. And then she poured peroxide down my side.
Oh God.
And then she put methylate. I think that's what the name of it is. Methylate, the pink stuff.
Yeah.
She put methylate all over my goddamn side.
Ow.
My shoulder, my elbow. I don't have any scars though, so I don't.
I mean, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I have scars from other stupid shit that I've done, but not that. And then
so many scars.
and then the boy who was like, you can cry if you want to, had to call his mom, come pick all of us up.
Oh.
And it wasn't just my fault. I don't think we could have gotten back anyway. But so he called his mom and we all got in trouble. We all had to like throw her. This is such an 80s thing. We all had to put our bags in the back of the truck and then we rode in the back of the truck.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was okay to put your children
in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still think it's okay. You just don't get on the highway.
I mean, okay. I agree. There are certain things that it's like, okay, that's not the safest thing ever. But like, if you're not like on the highway,
I know they're afraid that you're going to get hit and kids will go flying.
Right.
So yeah, she took us all back home. I got in trouble.
If only people didn't have cell phones.
I know. I got in trouble and my parents somehow did not think it was their fault for not getting me a BMX. They were like, clearly it's because you're a dumbass. I was like, let's put that aside for a second and talk about why I don't have a BMX.
Nice. I like it.
Thank you for being a friend.
Absolutely. We just want to say thank you to anybody who participated in the trivia tournament that we sponsored last month at Star City Brewing Company. So thank you for doing that. If you did participate, and if you didn't, you should definitely still do it because they're still going to do it every Tuesday. You can do it online.
It is so fun.
You are. It is fun.
We're not telling you what teams we're on.
No, we're not. But I will say that
you did very well.
I won some money last month, and it was nice.
So just know that we don't get any forewarning on trivia. We don't get the test answers ahead of time.
No.
And we also we paid to sponsor it. So I mean that's what you do when you sponsor something. So we felt that we should just play. We were in such. I quit playing at some points. I was like, I want to go home. So we also have some folks that we wanted to recognize. You guys have been supporting us and downloading us, and we appreciate it. And share us with your friends. And if you shared us with your friends and they don't like us, ask them to share us with people they don't like. I don't care.
I mean, they may like us.
Right. You don't know. I mean, if you think you're doing a disservice to your enemy,
you might
I'm
be
okay
torturing
with it.
them, but you know what?
They'll download it at least once. And if you've listened to one of the episodes, 1, 2, or 3, this one will be number 4. If you've listened to one of our episodes but haven't listened to the other ones to go with it, please go ahead and give those a download. They're just as fun. They're less of a shit show. Or no, they're more of a shit show than
Probably.
today.
I feel like we're getting better.
We are.
Yeah.
We started good.
Better's a relative term.
And then it got worse, and then it got worser. And then there's today where we're
normal human beings.
I could hear myself slurring in the last one. And I was like, so for those of you who want to know if we get drunk during the podcast,
yes.
We get drunk before the podcast.
I've had that question a couple of times. The question has come up. So do you actually get drunk? And the answer is a resounding yes.
Yeah, we try and start drunk.
Yeah. But we also have to set up equipment. So, we have to be somewhat,
which is why I
what's
had
happening.
3/4 of a full bottle of wine before I got here.
I had half a bottle of wine before I got here.
There you go. I don't feel bad about myself.
We're
good. So thank you very much to all of our friends and family who are supporting us. And we would like to say hello to, I think we would like to say cheers.
Yes.
To Judy, Miranda, Lisa, Ramon, Leo, Justin. Hi, Mom. Seth, Laura, Sarah W., Andrew, and Sarah M. I apologize if we've missed you. I've been kind of going back through comments, and
I will never say hi, Mom, because she does not approve of swearing. So this is not something I'll ever listen to.
My mom listens because she supports me, and also because I think she wants to know what family secrets I'm sharing, and they're not too many. They're fun. I haven't even talked about stuff that my parents helped me do.
My sister literally texted me while we were having this conversation about so what's this podcast?
It's none of your goddamn business. That's what it is. We talked about your babysitting incident. So I've only babysat one time, and then I don't think that like watching my nieces and my nephew count
Because family members are different.
Right. I mean, like I was by myself. So
Yeah.
like one was a cousin, the nieces and nephews, and they all lived. So
Right.
I feel like I've done my part in society. Although I do have pictures of my nephew upside down in the playhouse, like falling over the gate of the playhouse.
That happens.
And I was taking pictures, and then he rescued himself, and I feel like he learned something.
So I also have a nephew who likes to spend most of his life upside down. So I feel like that's just normal.
My oldest niece, such a bad thing to do in public. We had a game. She was big enough to like hold herself up. She was actually probably almost walking. Like she was, I don't know, 11, 12 months old. She started walking and talking very early, so it's a little
Yeah.
fuzzy for me. But before she started talking, we had this game, and I would hold her little forearms and she would sit on my lap. I would not shake her. I just want to say that we did not shake her. I just twisted her little body like back and forth, like
so she's,
shimmy,
like,
shimmy,
doing
shimmy,
the
shimmy,
twist, like
shimmy,
Chuck Berry style?
So I'm like shimmy, 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 and I would go.
If you don't know who Chuck Berry is, Google him.
And then, no, you mean Domino.
Oh, Fat Domino.
Domino Fats Domino. I don't know what his
Something
name is.
like
but
that.
Let's twist again.
Wait, what did Chuck Berry do?
Chuck Berry did My Ding-a-Ling.
Yes.
My grandfather loved that song. I love that song. It's on
I
my
did
playlist.
a PowerPoint presentation on him in middle school.
There's shit you did not know about him in middle school. Like he liked to poop on girls.
Oh, I feel dirty now.
And didn't he just die, or is he still alive? He's like 900 years old.
Oh, he's got to be. I don't
Yeah.
know. If he's still alive, he's got to be very old.
Absolutely.
All right, sorry. Continue your
that's
story.
Okay. So this was mostly a game that we play at home. There were lots of games. So like I would pile up pillows and then knock her down into them, and she would laugh. And she had I don't remember what it's called, but like her bronchial tubes were and her esophagus were soft. So when she would laugh, it would trill air. So she sounded like a chipmunk. She'd be like, long before Cardi B ever thought about it, she was like,
You're totally one of those people that can roll your R's when you do Spanish class, can't you?
yeah, I just didn't do Spanish class. I did French because I thought it was going somewhere. I thought I was going to be an athletic trainer for a hockey team in Canada, and none of that panned out for me.
Oh, man. I want that so badly for you.
I went to college for it.
Only
and
so
then
I can
was
be your
like-
friend and then meet all the hockey players.
I know. You would like to meet somebody named Wah.
Yeah.
Like, I know it says Roy, but it's Wah.
I mean, I feel like really it's just because I want to drive a Zamboni, but that's just, whole
you
nother
could
story.
get away with
Yeah.
that here. If we still had a semi-pro team, you could have gotten away with this here. But I feel like since you're partnered up, you can't
Yeah.
offer sexual favors
can't
for
do that anymore.
Zambonis.
All right, we need to become so popular that I get to drive a
There
Zamboni.
you
Somebody make it happen. I want to drive a Zamboni.
So I would sit her on my lap, and I would twist her back and forth by her hands, and I would say, "Never shake a baby." And she would laugh, and we would do it all the time. So she was starting to get fussy, and so I went outside of this restaurant before they remodeled them. These restaurants called Bob Evans had these open partitions in between the dining room and the waiting room.
Okay.
So it's not the doctor's office, but like you know what I mean, like where the benches are.
You're right.
And so I was sitting there with her, and I was bouncing her on my knee, and I was like talking to her, and we were being silly together. And then I grabbed her arms, and I was like, "Never shake a baby." There are booths behind me, and you could literally hear the gasps and the head turns. And I was like,
You were being judged.
oh my God, I felt like Beverly Hillbillies, and only like 3 people know what I'm talking about. I felt like Beverly Hillbillies because I turned around and was like, she likes it.
It's okay. She enjoys this.
It's like when her mom was going through the divorce. I used to joke with my niece, and I would be like, "Hey, am I going to have to beat you?" And she'd be like, "Yes, beat me up." And I'd be like, "All right." And then I was like, "This is not going to go well on like a fucking stand if she has to testify." Do they make 4-year-olds testify?
Sometimes.
I'm like, we should quit asking her if I'm going to beat her. I never beat her. But I'm sorry, I stepped on your babysitting story.
No, you're fine. This is how we do this. So I did babysit very briefly. And this babysitting story is not going to be as entertaining as I think it is.
Or favorable toward you.
Or favorable towards me. It's going to be like, oh, you spoiled little bitch is what it's going to look like. So
Who among us has not been a spoiled little bitch?
So, when I was in middle school, my mom, as long as I have known her, been alive, whatever, she's always had multiple jobs. You know what I mean? Like, she's one of those people that has had like 2 jobs her entire life. She helped put my dad through college, and then when me and my sister were
Is she
going through
taking a
school,
break now? I feel like she should take a break.
well, no, because now she's grandma, so now she's helping babysit nieces and my nieces and nephews, so her grandkids. So she's doing that like 5 days a week. But I think she finally I got a phone call. I think she finally, and I'm putting this in quotations, retired. She just started collecting her Social Security. So, like, I think she's, like, retired now finally. But, like, you know, she's still babysitting, like, you know, Monday through Friday. Like,
for free. Let's not, like, rat her out for
Right.
shit. Like,
No.
she's not earning anything. Social Security should leave her alone.
right. It's grandma. She's watching the grandchildren while, you know, my sister works and full time and everything else. And her husband works full time. So, you know, she's being grandma. She loves it. So, you know, that's great. But as long as she has been alive, she's worked 2 jobs, whatever else it is, to make ends meet, to make sure everybody is happy and everybody gets what they need to do.
And that you don't
Right.
get her arrested more often.
So there was a period of time, which I feel like this is more interesting than my babysitting story, where she was working in the school system as like an aide in the behavioral classroom.
Yeah.
And, you know, there.
I student taught with the behavioral students. And I was like, I just want to be a teacher. I do not want to fucking deal with this shit.
Right. Because I think the worst thing that ever happened was one of the kids once stabbed a pencil through her hand.
Oh, so like, and I fully support anybody who wants to work with those children. Just
Right.
know that, like, from our previous podcast, I do not relate to children, and relating to children who also have another dynamic going. I'm not that person. The person who deal with them, like
Yeah.
your mom, not deal with, that sounded bad.
No, but, like,
people who get to work with them
Can work with them and help them.
are
and
special
yeah.
people, because I'm not that person.
Yeah. So my mom previously had worked in a job where she worked in the education system as an aide.
So your mom's an angel and we're assholes.
Well, she worked in a place where she helped handicapped kids.
Yeah.
Kind of like acclimate to real world,
Differently abled.
like differently abled. So they had like an apartment that she would take them to during the day during the class, and she would teach them how to like cook and clean and like do like, you know,
that's nice.
everyday activities, take them to the store, learn how to shop and stuff like that. So she loved doing that, loved doing that. And she was very good at it. And then when we moved and whatever else, so then she went to another school system. She became an aide in a behavioral classroom. And none of this has to do with babysitting, except for the fact that
This is what led you to babysit.
the teacher she was the aide, and the actual teacher in this classroom had a couple of kids that needed babysitting. And so this is how I got my babysitting job, because I was her daughter and I was old enough to babysit his children. And so he was like, hey, I need a babysitter. And she was like, hey, I have a daughter who's a good age to do that. So here you go.
She's not 10.
Right.
She knows how to call 911.
So he had, and I think at the time I was in middle school, so I was probably like 12, 13. And I want to say his kids were the youngest was probably like 6 to 9 months.
Right.
And then the other one was probably 3 years.
Right.
So
Oh, that was good. I thought you were going to be like, and so the oldest was in 5th grade.
yeah, no. Thankfully,
And he was
there were only
somebody I
2.
had previously punched in the hallway.
But so like I went and I babysat one night for them when they went out to have dinner. And it went very well, me and the little kid. So anybody who knows me, I naturally have a very good disposition with small children, especially of the 3 to 4 year old range, because
When they're not like, can you play with me? Look, let's play. I don't want to.
See, that's the thing. I love playing. Like I'll play.
Oh, I like playing with the 3 and 4 year olds because they're very
Yeah.
like abstract.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be like, I don't want you to lock me into some shit. And like when you get to be 6 and 7 years old, you have very strong opinions
Oh yeah, no. I was
about what you want to do for play. And I just don't want to do that.
Yeah, I was with a 3-year-old, so it was very loosey-goosey with the imagination. You can make stuff up and be like, this is what's happening. And they'd be like, okay, cool. And it was like, all right. So, like, it was good. And then the baby, like, didn't need that much attention because he slept most of the time. So, like, there was a one-night trial thing where they went to dinner. And then this babysitting gig turned into, so we're going to go to North Carolina for a week to Hilton Head. And we want a babysitter to come with us. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I never got that shit.
So they were like, we want somebody that can come with us so that at night we can go out and be adults and have dinner and whatever else. And she can stay in the condo and watch the kids.
And get pizza and
just chill.
order movies or whatever the fuck you
Yeah.
want to do.
And most of the time the kids are going to be in bed anyway, but like just to hang out at the condo. And then during
Because
the day,
they don't want to be the kind of parents who get in the news for leaving their children
Right.
asleep in cribs.
So
while
they're
they go
like,
drink.
but then during the day, like the family's going to go to the beach and everything else. And so she can come to the beach with us and whatever else. So it was nice. So I ended up, because of this one night gig I did for like watching them for dinner, I got to go to Hilton Head for a week.
Nice.
For free, and they paid for my food and everything, and it was just super nice. And they also like, they were like, okay, well, if you want to pick one thing to do during the week, we'll pay for you to do whatever. So I picked going horseback riding on the beach. So they took me horseback riding on the fucking beach.
I mean, were you guys in a relationship? Was it romantic?
Okay, so when I was younger, and I still do, but I loved horses. So like, they gave me a thing of Hilton Head, and it was like, here's all the things you can do in Hilton Head that are like pre-scheduled activities or whatever. And I was like, I want to see horses. And they were like, okay, you can go do this. So like the father one day
Took you on a date to go see horses?
So like everybody else went to the beach, so he didn't go with me. But what happened was like he took me to the place and then like was like, hey, okay. So he paid for it and everything else, and they put me on a horse, and I went on this little trail with like the instructors and everything, and went on this trail through the beach, and then like went on the beach and then came back. And it was like a total of an hour or whatever. And then I came back, and then he took me back to the condo, and like we went to the beach and joined the family. But the whole week it was great. And the other really awesome perk was the fact that his wife, so the teacher was the guy that I knew. So his wife was a delightful human being. Her sister also came on vacation with them.
Oh, that's nice.
She was a professional chef at a high-end restaurant like in Cleveland.
So you guys got awesome meals.
So she was cooking for the family while we were on vacation. So I got
So it wasn't even a vacation for her. She was just like employed.
I got a free vacation to Hilton Head. All I had to do was be present at the end of the evening to make sure that they could leave, and I was just there to make sure the kids didn't die. I got like 4-star meals every night, like because this professional chef in the family was there. It was just ridiculous. So it was like, as somebody in middle school, you're like, oh, this is living.
I feel like your mom got a psychic vibe. And she just called
She
you.
did.
She's like, shit, Brandy's talking shit about me. I can hear it in the atmosphere. Oh my God. No, that's amazing.
Yeah. I never babysat after that, though. I was like, all right, that was the epitome of babysitting. I'm done now.
We haven't talked much with the people that are listening. We do appreciate you guys downloading it, but we don't hear much from you. So please reach out to us on Instagram and Twitter at DBBL_podcast, Facebook at DBBL space. No, you can just do at DBBL podcast and you'll find us. Gmail. Send us an email. I don't care. dbblpodcast@gmail.com if there's something that you want to hear us ramble on about.
Absolutely.
While we're drinking wine and or beer, let us know. We'll do that. We can do that. Additionally, if I missed your name when I was giving a cheers out to everybody, feel free to message me and tell me that I missed you, because we appreciate you listening, and we would like to give you all of the attention that you deserve, because without you, we have 0 downloads and we just look pathetic. Also,
That's true.
whatever podcast app that you're listening to us on, if it has the ability to give it a like or give it stars, we would appreciate it if you gave us a high rating.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah,
So
that
we can
moves
move up
us-
in the rankings.
We can move up in the rankings. We are on iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Spotify. We are not on Apple yet because
We're on
Apple,
Google Podcasts.
We're on Google Podcasts. We are on YouTube. You can virtually find us almost anywhere. If you don't see us, you can also go to our Spreaker account.
Spreaker account is
Yeah.
where we have our RSS feed. We are working on getting Apple Podcasts. We were on there for like a split second, and then they were like, "You're explicit." So we're working on getting back on there. So
They
hopefully in
feel
the future.
apparently drinking and cursing isn't good for children. But I feel like if your child is downloading podcasts named Drunk Bitches Be Like, that's your problem, not my problem. I don't think it's a me thing. I think it's a you thing. But we
Probably.
would like to hear from you. We would like to interact with you. We are small at this point, but we would like to come wherever you are. And to do that, we have to have the downloads to do it so that people in your town think that we're worth having.
Yes, that is true. And if you wouldn't mind going to our website too, dbblpodcast.com, you can sign up for our newsletter, which isn't really a newsletter so much as an alert system. Whenever we drop a new episode, we will send you an email and say, hey, we dropped a new episode, so that way you know that it's there. So if you want to go there and sign up for that, that would be fantastic. And we will be adding a little bit more to our website coming up. Right now, we just have basically a episode section, so you can listen to the podcast on there if you want to, and learn a little bit about us, but hopefully we'll be adding more to that soon.
Yeah. And what we could do to add more to that soon is going places. So if you have a friend or a family member that has a bar right now in the Dayton, Ohio, no, let's just say Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, I could make a trip. We would love to have them on at this point, give them a free plug, and hopefully we all have a mutually beneficial relationship.
That's what it's all about.
But as I have said before, online on Facebook, if you enjoy us, thank you, and please download us again. And if you don't enjoy us, share us with people you don't like. I don't care.
Yeah, just send us their way and be like, oh my God, you're going to love this.
Yeah, they're
They
going to
won't know the
hate you for
difference.
it, but whatever. They're going to download it at least once, and then they might like it, and then that just works out for us and doesn't hurt you in the least, except for the fact they're going to think you're friends. Probably should have thought that through. But we do enjoy it. We do enjoy coming to you from Dayton, Ohio. We would like to come to you from wherever you are. That sounds weird. It's like stroke buddies. It's like playing darts and being stroke buddies.
We like to travel, I feel like, is the
We can.
yeah, we can and will travel.
We'll
So,
travel. Have livers. We'll travel.
Yes.
So thank you very much to everybody, and cheers.
Yay.
I feel like I need a boom.
Thank you, Allie.
Thank you. We'll edit you out or keep you in.
You're true.
Now I'm on top of the mic. I'm a real broadcast person.